Everybody's got a voice inside, a dream that's burning, they try to hide. Pages turn, but the ink runs dry until you dare to ignite the fire. So tell the world what's in your soul, every scar and every goal. It's your truth, don't let it go. This is your time, let the whole world know. Start your story, light up the sky, shine through the shadows, let your spirit fly. Every heartbeat, every fight, let you hear now, claim the night. Spark your story, let it roar. You're the flame they can't ignore. Your voice, your fire, your glory. Go on, spark your story.
Okay. My name is Jessica, and welcome to the podcast Spark Your Story. Today we have special guest author, writer CJ Cassidy. I asked him to come through because I really like what he's about, what he speaks about, and what he writes about. Without further ado, CJ, thank you very much for coming on the show, for taking your time out in your day to, to tell your story and to, talk about the books that you write.
Thank you, Jessica. I really appreciate you having me. It's actually been 10 years since I've done a live interview, and I came out basically out of retirement because you asked. And I've seen your previous shows, and I know how important this show is to your viewers, and it is an honor and a privilege for me to be here.
It's a pleasure having you. Seriously, it is, CJ. Thank you so much. So, give us a little background. What book I really want to talk about is the title A Tortured Soul, the Unauthorized Biography of Nicolas Anderson.
Yes, that
Can you
is
explain the background on that?
sure. Basically, just to get things straight, I am not an erotic author. I write books about women who undergo trial and tribulations and the triumph that they finally come to. I had written a book which I thought was going to change the world, and a young lady happened to get a hold of that book, and she liked the way I told the story, the way I set up characters, and she said that she could literally see the characters in her mind. So she contacted me through snail mail because she didn't want any electronic, no way for her to be, found out. And she asked me to write her biography. And I said, you know what? That sounds like a good idea. I'd love to try it. And through mail, and her friend actually sent me a burner phone so we could talk about her life and, what she wanted to discuss in her book. The first 100 pages, I basically set up the story about who she is, where she works, who she works with. And then suddenly she started talking about the abuse that she endured and how she, with the help of an older coworker, set to deal with her problems. And then the book got into BDSM. I said, I talked to her and I said, listen, I'm not that kind of an author. I don't do erotica. I don't do BDSM. I don't do this. I really can't help you. And she begged me that her story had to be told.
Wow.
I was conflicted because, like I said, I didn't want to write a story, but there was something about her story that was so compelling that I went to my pastor to talk to him and see what did he think about the subject and me writing this book. As I entered his office and opened the door, he said to his wife, lean not unto your own understanding. And right there, I got an epiphany that this was not about me. It didn't matter what I thought. It didn't matter how I felt. This was a story that had to be told. And I said, okay. And I continued writing her story from the point where she started into the lifestyle until she came to an ultimate resolution. It wasn't easy for me. To hear her story of pain and heartache made me cry a lot of times. I cried
Okay.
whenever she cried. I cried when she laughed. I cried at the end of her story. But the most important thing about her book is that after writing it, it didn't get much sales. It wasn't a very popular book. And it wasn't until another author became popular with her book, 50 Shades, that people started picking up my book. And because they did, almost 50 women got out of their abusive relationships by reading my novel. And every time I get a Christmas card or a note from them saying that, thank you so much, you saved my life, the waterworks just start. Let's face it, I'm 6'1", I weigh 270 pounds. I'm built like a bodybuilder, and I'm crying like a baby because
Yeah.
these women's lives were changed because of this one novel. And it was important to them to know that they were not alone. That was the biggest thing they took away from the book, is that, oh my goodness, I thought it was just me. No, it's not just you. There are other people. And that was the importance that the woman who I named Catherine Stark wanted to get across to the readers of her book, that don't give up. There is a way out. You may not, it might not be the normal way that people say, oh, just go see a therapist or go see a movie or do this or just talk to your friends. She found a way out that's kind of controversial. I think
Mhm.
controversial, but it's what she needed to survive, and she does survive. Um, the book, I sent a copy of the book to one young lady and found that she was being abused by her husband, who had left her for another woman. And we got to be friends, and we spoke for a little while. And 10 years later, after she read the book, she looked at the cover and said, you know what? If she can get out, I can get out. She packed her kids. She left her job. She left the state. And she contacted me and says, listen, I lost my job. I lost my house. I lost my dog. I left my abusive husband to be with his girlfriend. I lost everything. And I said, my God, I've ruined this woman's life. And at the end of the note, she said, thank you for saving my life.
Oh, wow.
And I lost it.
Mm.
I never knew how powerful my words, Catherine's words, would be to her, and for her to take this book, which is sexually graphic. I don't hold anything back in this book because that's part of her life. To not write about her sex life is like writing a book about Babe Ruth and not mentioning baseball.
Right.
It's what she is, it's what she was, and it was part of her. The reason why she was stuck in the problem that she was. This young lady took the book and gave it to her 10-year-old son, who blamed her for them breaking up with his father. After reading the book, he wrote a 3-page note mostly saying that after reading this and realizing my mother went through, I will never treat a woman the way my father treated my mother.
Wow.
You don't know what your words, what your story is going to do, what it's going to affect. Don't get me wrong. A lot of people didn't like the book.
Mm.
A lot of people didn't like the subject matter, but that book wasn't written for them. It was written for the people who live that life, who experience those experiences. Do they use BDSM to get out of it? Not always, but this is something that she needed, because the person whose name is on the book cover, Nicolas Anderson, used that to teach her to take control of the pain she was receiving.
Mm.
In a BDSM relationship, it's not abuse, because the sub is the one who is in control. The sub is the one who has the safe word. Once she uses that safe word, it is an order. It is a commandment. It's a demand for you to stop. I can't take anymore. And that's what she needed. In her abusive relationship, she was dating people who would beat her in order to have sex with her.
Oh.
Unfortunately, like Pavlov's dog, she became accustomed to the idea that if I want good sex, I have to take a beating first. Nicolas showed her that you can have all the pain you want. You're addicted to pain now? Great. I can give you all the pain you want. But what I'm not going to do is I'm not going to have sex with you after a session. You have to break that chain of one equates to the other. You can have all the sex you want. I am going to put it to you. I'm going to give you everything you want, but not in conjunction with a session. So the book goes over the different sessions that they went through, the love affair that they had. A lot of people said that, he just basically, he was an enabler for her abuse or her pain, and that's not so. Nicholas absolutely loved Catherine. There is a scene in the book in which they're having, lunch together, and he says, "Oh, what happened to the so-and-so that I left here?" And she goes, "Oh, I used it and I kind of killed the batteries on it." He says, "You know what? I should really beat your ass." And she says, "You want it? Come get it." And he chases around the room. And when he gets her, he grabs her and throws her over his lap. And he's about to, whip her tail. And she said, "Don't you dare hit me." At that point, he stops, backs off, because he's been given the safe word. He has now been told, "I don't want you to give me pain." And that's when he shows that at that moment, even though he was a little upset with her, even though she may have wanted it, she said no. And let's face it, everybody, no means no. I don't care if you've had sex with someone 1,000 times. That 1,001 time when they say no, no means no. "Oh, but I've done this all." No means no. You're not going to get it today. If I say tomorrow, you're not going to get it tomorrow. Deal with it. And that's what showed that he absolutely loved her, because he was willing not to punish her because she said no. And there's several incidences in the book in which she goes, "No." And he goes, "Fine. That's fine with me. I understand. This is what you want. I'm your dominant. I give you what you need. And if you say you don't want, no means no. I'm your dominant. If I feel it's too much for you, if I feel it's going too far, it's up to me to stop it, because it's not my job to hurt you to the point where you can't recover from it. I just give you enough. I'm here to protect you and give you what you need, not take it to the point where it's about me. It's about you. The dominant is not the master in this. It's the submissive, because they say enough is enough. They initiate the session. He'll suggest things and she could say, "No, I don't want to do that. Yes, I'd like to try that." He has to be loving and caring about her enough to give her what she wants and stop when he thinks it's too much for her. And little by little, a lot of people have because they've read these other books where the guy is just like wailing on this woman and "Oh my God, he loves." No, I'm sorry. That's not what it is. He had to actually enter into a contract with her. He had to sit with her for days to go over, "Can I do this? Can you do that? Can I do this? Can you do that? Okay, we're not going to do it. Can we discuss it at that time comes up? Can we discuss these things?" Absolutely. But if I say no, it's not going to happen. And that's the important message that people have to get about being abused, especially if you're addicted to pain, because people don't see that some abused people are addicted to pain. It's sometimes the reason why people in abusive relationships break up the relationship and then turn around and get into another one. Never could figure that out. You escaped the guy who was beating you. Why do you go to another person who's beating you? And they don't know. I don't understand. You're used to it. There was a joke that Bill Cosby once said, and every time his kids had to go to bed, they would do something stupid, and his wife would get angry and beat the kids. And he said, "Please do what she says, so there won't be any beatings tonight." And the children looked at him and says, "Oh, my dear man, you don't understand. We can't sleep through the whole night unless we've gotten a good beating." That's where the addiction comes in. That's where people sit there and go, "I don't understand why you're putting up with this. You're putting up with this simply because you've been accustomed to it. It's the devil you know. The devil you will go back to." And she does backslide at one point and gets into an abusive relationship, still being with Nicolas, and it almost costs her a life. And it's not easy. You have to understand that you have to walk in a person's shoes. You literally have to live their life. You can't sit there and you can't say, well, I was abused and I didn't go up. You know what? You're not me. You don't know what I went through. You don't know why I went through it. You don't know what I came through in order to come to this point.
Exactly.
I've had an abuse victim on the internet, and Catherine was very vulnerable, which is why I wear this mask to protect her identity.
Okay.
I don't want people to know it's me because they'll think, oh, it's your sister, it's your girlfriend, it's your aunt. No, it's not anybody in my family. But I can't tell you who Catherine is because she's vulnerable. Because a person in her position cannot handle attacks. Because let's face it, she's being attacked physically. She was being attacked emotionally. I've actually had an abuse survivor turn around and goes, well, you know, Catherine's a coward. And I said, excuse me? Well, she won't tell us who she is. She won't tell us where she lives. She won't. I'm sorry, but that's not for you to decide whether or not she's strong enough to put her name out there. And, you know, I don't want to be rude, but you're a survivor and you're attacking her. What do you think other people who don't understand would do to this poor woman that might make her backslide?
Exactly.
And I will protect Catherine like a lioness protects its cubs. You will never, ever, ever in your life, in my life, ever know who this woman is, who her friends are, where she lives. Never going to happen because I love her enough to care about her well-being. I'm not a lover, but I love her. And if anybody happens to read the book in future books, because there was 3 novels written, actually 4 novels written about her and her friends, CJ Cassidy actually becomes her lover. What had happened is in the course of writing the books, she met someone through her friend who her and her friend fell in love with and got together with. And rather than me creating a new character, I just named him CJ.
Mm-hmm.
So when I talk about their adventures, I'm not talking about me personally. I'm talking about their adventures with him and what he went through trying to deal with a polyamorous relationship, because it was him, her girlfriend, and Catherine together, and what they go through being in that type of relationship, and being the fact that CJ is not into that lifestyle, and having to accept the fact that his 2 girlfriends, his 2 lovers, are in that lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard enough when you're doing it with 3 vanilla people. Imagine what it's like with 1 vanilla and 2 sprinkles.
No, it's so true. And you know, you talk about judgment, and you know, this is why. I mean, what you said was, until you walk in their shoes, you know, you should say nothing.
Nothing.
Because you don't know what they've been through. And it's so true. If, you know, walk a mile in my shoes, you know, like that type of thing.
Yep.
And you
8
just
billion people
never
were born on this
know.
planet from women, not one from a man. A man should not have a right to say what a woman should do with her body.
Exactly.
You don't know anything about it. Stay out of it.
Exactly. And this is why, personally, my growth, that I never judge anyone, and I take them for who and what they are.
Yes.
Where they're at.
And that's what I love about you.
I love you too, CJ. But you know, I'm so glad that you wrote about this, because it shows that, you know, you're not alone. People are connected.
Yes.
People that have read your books have asked for your help, and look at how many lives that you've changed already. You know, and you know,
we can't do this in the dark anymore. You can't sit there like we did when I was a kid. Oh, you know, yeah, you have this uncle that we won't leave you in the same room with, or you have, you know, you can't talk about what happened to Sister Susie when she went to school that day, because it was her fault because she was dressed provocatively, but you're the one who dressed her. We can't do that anymore. We have to talk about these things. We have to, because there are a lot of people, and we discussed this in the past, that Catherine asked me to write a book about the protagonist in the first novel. She said, you have to write her story. And I went, why? She's a cold, conniving bitch. She tried to ruin your relationship with Nick. Why would I write her story? And then in conversations with her, Jennifer X, found out she was more victim than villain. she had gone through her own abusive relationships. She had her reasons for doing what she did, and she actually became a better person because of it. The third novel, which is Jennifer's friend, Lady Latex, I call Lady Latex, she was also abused as a child, and hers was a little bit different. She was actually, I don't even want to say, but all I can say is that one woman read the first 20 pages in which the incident happens to her, and she said, I can't read this. I can't read this. I don't know why you wrote this. I can't read this. I said, well, if you can't read this, imagine what she felt like going through it.
Exactly.
You don't know.
Exactly. It's the kind of stuff that gives you chills down your spine.
It does. You don't believe it's possible. And then you said, oh, why would you write about this? Because it happened. It's still happening. It's been almost 20 years since I wrote those 3 books. Right. And nothing has stopped. Nothing has slowed down. There are still girls in high school who can't talk about what happened to them in the gym, or what happened to them at the prom, or what happened to the after party. There are still women out there who are in abusive relationships in which they're being physically attacked by the people who, they think they love. One young lady whose bio I wrote, she wrote she told me about a thing where she was living with this guy. She was asleep in bed. He broke into her house and beat her so badly that he called the police because he thought he killed her.
Oh my goodness.
When the cops came, she was in her own blood and vomit. And all she remembers, the last thing she said before she passed out is, "But I love you." This is still happening, ladies and gentlemen. You can't sit there and go, "Oh, let's push that aside. Let's make believe it didn't happen." It didn't happen in my life, so why would you talk about it? Because there are people who need to know. There are people who need to feel. There are people out there who read my books and other books like them and say, I thought I was the only one. And that's the biggest power that an abuser has, for you to think that you're all alone.
Yes, indeed.
Abusers have an unwritten textbook manual, and they all follow the manual. They'll be nice to you for the first couple of dates. They'll be sweet to you. Nobody has ever been at a first date and the person reaches over the table and slaps the piss out of you, and you go, "This is the person for me."
Right.
No, they show you their best side. They treat you nice. They take you to nice places, and then slowly it changes. The next thing you know, why are you wearing that? I don't like you wearing that. Wear this. Why are you wearing glasses? You should wear contacts. I don't like the way your hair is. Wait a minute. Who are you going to go visit? You're going to go see your family? I don't like your family because they have ideas I don't like. Oh, you're going to work? I don't like that job. So then they try to make you feel less about yourself, take away your self-esteem. They try to alienate you from your family. They try to alienate from your job. So now you become financially held to them, and then it starts. It's the public talking about you in public. Why are you so stupid? Don't you know that you should have did this? Why didn't you do it? And they'll say it loudly so other people. So now you feel your self-esteem starts to drop. Then it's the pull. Then it's the push. Then it's the slap. Then it's the beating. And then, oh, he only hits me when he's drunk. He only hits me when he's had a bad day of work. He's only hits me if I don't cook his food right, or I don't fold his clothes right. It's funny how these people with anger management seem to control their anger when there are witnesses. And then you get so caught up, just like Catherine did, where she said at one point, how did I get to this point? I'm a mid-manager in a major corporation. I'm over 40, 50 people in my office. I can control the boardroom, but I can't control my bedroom. And
crazy to think about.
It's you sit there and you go, and it's not. And I have a couple of statistics here I just want to go over.
Yeah.
Okay. And this, I just got these today, and it's recent. 1 in 4 girls and 1 in 13 boys in the U.S. are estimated to experience child sexual abuse. 1 in 4 women have experienced domestic abuse since the age of 16. That's from 16 on. Over a 3-year period between 2019 and 2022, on the average, at least 1 woman a week was killed by her partner. Now, here's another thing. About 1 in 3 men have experienced sexual violence, physical violence, stalking by an intimate partner during their lifetime. And approximately only 1 in 10 men report an impact from that victimization. Who's at risk of abuse? Old people, people with a learning disability or have trouble seeing or hearing, people who don't have enough emotional support, people who have mental problems, people who are socially isolated, like introverts, people who live in inappropriate accommodations, such as homeless shelters, jail, or living on the street, people who misuse alcohol or drugs, have financial circumstances which make them a higher risk. And this is whether they're rich or poor. Being rich does not make you immune to abuse. And I'm not going to mention a trial that's going on right now of a woman who is very well off, who is being beaten by her lover. So who are the victims of abuse? Females, children, the elderly, homosexuals, targeted ethnic groups, and men. Abuse is an equal opportunity crime.
Yes, it is.
Don't think it just happens to me. It just happens to my kind. It just happens to people who think like me or look like me. No, across the board, it's an equal opportunity crime. And you can look at somebody and not know that they have been abused, because that's what we do. We sit there and we put on the happy face. This mask should have a little, smile on it, because that's what we do. For everybody else, oh, everything is fine. How are you? I'm fine. How things? Oh, it's good. And you're walking around with bruises, and you're going to the hospital every week, and you don't know, and you can't go out, and you can't do this. And they, I have to say they, because it could be female, male, it doesn't matter, tells you what to do, when to do it, how to do it, and to the point where you don't know how to do it yourself. You lose all self-esteem, all power in your life. And that's what in the first book, Nick taught her. This is how you take your power back. If this is what you want, this is how you ask for it, and this is how you stop it.
Right.
It's all up to you.
Wow. Yeah. And that's very powerful. And, I'm sitting here and I can tell you that I've been through every single one that you mentioned. And I know that we've talked about that in depth.
Yes.
But, it goes to show you just never know.
You never know. You can't look somebody in the face and know, oh, you're doing well. No. My third book, Living La Vida Puta, in which the protagonist is sexually assaulted at a young age, as a teenager. I gave a copy of the book to a Facebook friend. I don't know why. I sent her the book. She sent me a Christmas card. She said, thank you. I thought I was the only one. I had no idea she had been sexually abused as a teenager. And I lost it. I went like, I can't believe this. You, of all people? And she said, yeah, me. And she took the book with her when she was going into a spa treatment. And her the masseuse looked at the book and said, what's this? And she goes, oh, it's a book that I'm reading. It's about this, that, and the other, blah, blah, blah. And she told her masseuse about it. And he started crying. And she goes, what? He goes, I was abused as a child as well. And you're thinking it's more rampant than you think. It's an epidemic, and we're not talking about it. We're not. Don't get me wrong. My book is a very sexual active. I'm sorry. It's very sexually graphic, and I have to tell you this because it's really funny to me. I was getting my teeth done at this dental clinic, and one of the girls found out that I wrote those books, and she got a copy of The Confessions of Jennifer X, which is the second book about Catherine's girlfriend. And about 6 months later, I had to go back for teeth cleaning. And I go in, and all the girls in the office go, CJ's here, CJ's here. And I'm going like, what the hell is, and they're literally coming out of every office, because like multiple offices on the sides. And one of the girls was sitting at the reception desk, and CJ's here. And I'm going like, what is going on? And she goes, this is all your fault. And I went, what? And she pushed back from a desk, and she was 6 months pregnant. I said, trust me, I had nothing to do with that. And she goes, the hell you did. I read on how Jennifer lost her virginity, and I savaged my husband.
Oh, wow.
So a life came into this world because of one of my books, which is also a good thing. So,
You know, like
there's
I say,
nothing
it begins with one person, one message, one story.
that's
And
it.
you're an example of that, you know?
And I just kept writing about other women. I've written, I think, 5 biographies in this time. I will not write another one because it's just too much. I can't take the heartache. I can't take the pain anymore. I've gotten to the age, and I will tell you that I am 70 years old.
Mhm.
I've gotten to that. I can't handle this pain and heartache from the. I mean, if it's a powerful enough story, yes, I will write it for you, but I can't. It's like, you know, to hear the pain and the abuse and say, why are you, and for me to say, why are you putting up with it? Why don't you just stop? You know,
Right.
I had one young lady, I've been telling her to stop for the past 10 years, and she can't do it. And this is very important. I think we also discussed this. If I tell you you have to stop and walk away, it has to be your decision because you have to deal with the consequences. I could say, listen, walk away. It's, just walk away. No, because sometimes they don't leave. Sometimes they come back. And I'm
Yes.
not responsible for the pain you have to endure if you finally decide that I'm not putting up with this. One of my readers, she said that she was in an abusive relationship. She left her man and he broke in her house, threw her to the ground, stepped on her chest, and put 6 bullets in her.
My God.
She survived. She said that he's in jail for life, but she had to endure getting shot. And that's something I don't endure that. If I tell you
Right.
you have to get out, I'm not the one. I could get the be the one shot because sometimes they'll come after me too. But you're the one that has to deal with the consequences. So you have to be ready to say, I have had enough, and I'm willing to do what I have to do to get out because sometimes it's not about walking away. And there's something I want to mention at this point about walking away. The U.S. National Domestic Service Hotline provides free, confidential, and compassionate support, crisis information, intervention information, education, and referral service in over 200 languages. You can contact them by phone at 1-800-799-SAFE, which is 7233, or by touch type at 787-3224, or you can chat on the hotline.org or text START to 88788. Okay? So you are not alone. There's someone else who will listen to you. It doesn't have to be a friend. It's not to be. Sometimes you just want someone to sit down and listen to you because just listen to me. I don't want you to explain it to me. I don't want you to tell me how to fix it. Just listen to me grieve because that's how I'm gonna heal.
Right.
Now, another thing that a lot of people are talking about on the internet is calling 911 and asking for a pizza. A pizza
Mm.
is a tactic situation used when someone needs to directly and discreetly report an emergency like domestic violence without alerting. The abuser could be in the room. Oh, I'm just going to order a pizza. 911. Yes, I'd like to order a pepperoni pizza. This is not a universal tactic known by 911 operators, and it probably gained attention from the movie Die Hard, in which John McClane calls the police band radio and is told that it's only used for police emergency, and he responds, "No shit, does it sound like I'm ordering a pizza?" So this is not an
Mhm.
official way to get people, so you have to do it discreetly. You have to sit and say, listen, I can't talk right now, but could you send someone to my house with a pizza and just just let them know that you can't talk, but you're trying to ask for help. And
Right.
this, okay,
Right.
now this is supposed to be the universal sign for help me. Your thumb and your
Okay.
fingers across, and just keep doing this. Do it behind your back, do it, on the side, whatever you do. It's being touted as something you do, but it's also not widely known. You could be doing this, and they have no idea. The person you're trying to do it to has no idea, and you could be caught by an abuser. So let's
Wow.
face it, being subtle doesn't always work. Go
Right.
with a tried and true tactic. Yell and scream in public until you get someone's attention. Scream 911 at the top of your lungs. Latch onto a stranger and don't let go until the police arrive. This is a society of cell phone videos. Someone will tape you being crazy, and if the police don't get there in time, at least there'll be physical evidence of your attacker. And when you've had enough, stick to your guns. Don't cry wolf and then recant your complaint. it only makes things worse.
Right. And I know in the state of New York, because I've been through it,
Mm-hmm.
so it just shows that you're not alone, because I've been through domestic violence too.
Yes.
And, you know, that type of environment is no place for any man or woman.
No. And there's no reason for you to be there.
Right.
You're not the reason this is happening to you. This is not your fault.
Right.
It's not, oh, why do they keep coming after me? Well, you know what? You're gonna have to sit down and look in here and go,
Mm-hmm.
why do I keep falling into this, and how do I break that cycle?
Right. And it took a long time for me to leave. It took me 3 years to leave. And, I specifically remember when we were talking about it also, you know, at the end, when it got really bad in the last fight,
Right.
I told you, if she didn't let go, I wouldn't be here today.
Yep.
And, luckily, I was able to make a phone call.
Yep.
And get out.
Make that call. Make a move. It's not your fault, but it is your responsibility.
Right. And, when you talk about the consequences, that is totally true.
Yes.
Because if I would have left sooner than later, I would have avoided, charges.
Yes.
I would have avoided all of that.
Yes.
With the law. And even avoided more hospital visits.
Yes.
So you are correct. And this is why I made this platform. This is raw, this is open, this is what I hope this show to be about.
Yes.
Because it really goes into depth of what men and women go through, not to mention, like you said, the LGBTQ communities.
Yes.
It happens there too, guys. Come on. I mean, it happens.
There is no standard victimology here. If you're human, you can be a victim.
Exactly. And what you just showed us, the different tactics to use, I'm glad that you did.
Thank you.
Because not many people know those signs or what to do. There's even apps that you can download that automatically, look like a different app, so they don't know that it's like
Correct.
I mean, there is help out there. There's vibes. There's I mean, and it's okay to ask for help and not to be ashamed.
Yes.
Don't
be ashamed. It's not your fault.
Exactly.
It was never your fault. A narcissist's greatest power is to make himself look like the victim.
Exactly.
And it's not your fault. It's not I didn't cook his meal right. It's not that I didn't have his dinner ready. It's not that I didn't fold his shorts. It's not that, I didn't do sex the way he likes it. No. It's not about you. It is not about you. It is not your fault, but it is your responsibility. You're going to have to sit there, do affirmations in the mirror if you have to. Stand in the mirror, go, listen, I am beautiful. I am smart. I am worthy. I am needed. Do this until you convince yourself that you're better than what's going on. It's going to take time. It's not going to happen overnight. Could take years. But you know what? One step at a time. It's like AA. One step at a time. You have to say to yourself, not today.
Exactly.
I'm not going to have this happen to me today.
Before we wrap up,
yes,
can you do me one favor and repeat those numbers again?
Absolutely.
That people can call?
Yes. The U.S. National Domestic Violence Hotline, which is available almost all over the world. You can look it up in the yellow pages, or, you can Google it. Right. The number is 1-800-799-SAFE, which translates to 799-7233. For Touchtone, it's 1-800-787-3224. The chat hotline, which you can do on your phone, you can do on your computer, is thehotline.org. Or on your phone, you can text capital START to 88788. You can do this. They'll be I've called it just to find out, listen, are you still in business? Absolutely. 24/7. Call us. It's available it's available in 200 languages. So you can't say, oh, well, they don't speak my dialect. Yes, they do. Okay.
That's
They'll be
good
very happy to
information.
talk to you. They'll be very happy to find out what they can do to get you out quietly, put you in a safe place, get you educated, get you housed.
Mm-hmm.
Because once you break that chain of having to go back to your abuser to get what you need, and you start to get it from yourself, that's the number one step to getting out. And I think I mentioned something, the difference between a kidnap victim and an abuse victim is that nobody ever takes a kidnap victim and sends them back to the kidnapper. Okay? Mm-hmm. Here's your way through these numbers to get out. Don't look back. Live your life. You're worth it. Keep saying, I am worth it. I am worthy. I don't have to put up with this shit.
Mm-hmm.
And mean it. And yeah, you might lose everything. My friend lost everything. And she said, thank you for saving my life. Your life may not be easier. It may not be the same. But you know what? You get to live it on your terms, not theirs, because they couldn't care less. And I'm sorry, there's one more thing I want to mention is that we mentioned when we spoke, is that the difference between abuse and BDSM is the difference between a bar fight and a professional wrestling match. In abuse and a bar fight, someone's going to get hurt, someone's going to die, something's going to happen, and there's no way to stop it, there's no way to control it. In a professional wrestling match, the two wrestlers get together and they say, oh, these are the moves we're going to try. This is what we're going to do. And I'm going to try to do it as safely as possible. So even though it looks, you're going to get hurt, but I'm not going to hurt you as much as it really would hurt if I did it in real life. There is a referee in the ring who can stop the match at any time.
Mm-hmm.
And if a wrestler does get hurt, because I have friends who are professional wrestlers, have no problem of taking that person home. Oh, I hurt you in the ring. I'm sorry. Let me take you home. Let me take you to the hospital. Oh, your kids got to go to school the next day. I'll pick them up. I'll drop them off. I'll make sure they're fed. There is a love between two wrestlers because all they're doing is put on a show for themselves, and there's a way they can stop it. I have seen incidents in which the wrestlers are about to get seriously hurt because they fob a move. And the other wrestler will actually put their lives, their bodies in the way to make sure that they don't get hurt. You know, body slams that didn't work, power bombs that didn't work, you know, jumping out of the ring and you miss the person you're supposed to land on and they jump forward to make sure that they catch you. Because if you watch very closely, whenever they jump out of the ring of somebody, that person goes out of the way to catch the person who's flying at them. Now, in a bar fight, nothing will start a bar fight until someone is hurt. In a professional wrestling ring, there's a referee. In BDSM, there's a safe word. And if you have a proper contract, if you go through the discussions of what we can do, like the contract that Nicolas and Catherine made, we can do this, we can do this, we can't do that, we can't do that, we can do this. We'll talk about these things at a later time. But in the meantime, once you say stop, whatever that safe word is, it stops. If I think you can't handle it, it stops. Because my job, which I'm not into the lifestyle, but my job as a dominant is to make sure that nothing happens to you, that you get hurt permanently. Because as Nicolas once said to Catherine, he did a session and he did something. And she said, why would you do that? Because you have to understand, just because I stop, the pain doesn't. You're still hurt. Now you have to deal with what I did moments ago, even after I've stopped. If someone stabs you, and then pulls out the knife, that wound doesn't feel better.
Exactly.
And you have to be
It's
ready to understand that you're going to have to deal with, regardless as to how much pain I allow you to have or you allow yourself to have. Once I stop, doesn't stop the pain, and you have to emotionally and physically deal with that.
exactly.
Oof.
Exactly. Listen, CJ, I thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you so much for having me. This was very important to me, and I hope some of the viewers of this hear the message and call the number, do the affirmations, do whatever it is to get out.
Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bravo. Good job.
Thank you. Thank you. Love
For
you.
the viewers out there, thank you for tuning in. Um, Thank you again, CJ.
You're welcome.
I would love to have you back at a later date.
Yes, I wouldn't mind.
You're awesome.
Thank you.
Um, uh, any way that if people want to get in touch with you, if they can, or if they need to, is there a way to get in touch with you if you want to
Yeah. But
give that out?
let's be clear that I am not an advocate. I am not a counselor. I'm an author.
Right.
I write what I'm told. I write what I see. I may not have the best advice for you, but if you'd like to follow me, hold on.
Right.
So you can get ideas of my book. Hold on. Let me see where I am. That's not me. Okay. Whoops. Okay. This is me. Why is this popping up? Let's get this up here. Oh, okay. Let's do this and do this. You can follow me on Facebook. And let me just go here. And it's facebook.com/CEE, the letter J, Cassidy, Cassidy. And if you happen to go on to, and because there's going to be a lot of CJ Cassidys now, because when I first started this, there was only one. Now there's hundreds. But to know that on the one, you're going to see a red circle with my logo on it of CJ Cassidy. It's maroon. It says author CJ Cassidy with my copyright signal. And befriend me, message me. I'll be very happy to talk with you anytime. Help you as much as humanly possible. Let you know what kind of outlets you have to, for help. Or if you just want to shoot the breeze, because sometimes you just want to talk to somebody who's not involved. You want to talk to a third party, and I will never judge you. I don't condone the lifestyle. I don't condemn the lifestyle. All I do is listen and try to be a positive voice in your ear so that you can feel that you can trust me. And I've been trusted by women who have been hurt for over 20 years. Not a whole lot of them, but enough where I know what to say and what not to say. And, just basically give you a virtual hug so that you can get through this.
That's awesome. Thank you. You heard it here. Check out his books.
Yes.
Great person, great author. And I'm going to say it again. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. This was very important.
Yes, it is. Again, this is Spark Your Story. Tune in to later episodes. You won't be disappointed.